Here
Cheers.
we go. Cheers.
Welcome to Founders Raw.
Thank you very much.
So Matt, I appreciate you sitting down. What I'd like to do is just really talk about, what it's like to be an entrepreneur, and maybe to start with, take me back to maybe your childhood. How'd you grow up? Where'd you grow up? And then how did you get into technology and founding your first company?
Yeah, I don't know, maybe it's funny you mentioned childhood. I wonder if that sort of led to me getting into kind of an entrepreneurial mindset. Not so much the lemonade stand on the corner thing, I actually never did that, but maybe I did, but it was an abject
How about
failure.
paper route?
And yeah, I was a substitute paper route kid
well, at least you're
for
there.
a while, but I mean that didn't really fire the imagination, It was just we just moved to Michigan, so this is where I guess I'll get to it. We just moved to Michigan, this town, Midland, Michigan, and some neighborhood kid that I had met, it was 2 doors down. It was his paper route, but he was gone for 2 weeks in the summer, so I took it over from him. I'd sort of learned my way around the neighborhood because I hadn't really toured on my bike way out and around the corner there, and it turned out he had a huge route, so I realized, location is everything, I guess. But that was, so again, I don't know that was necessarily an entrepreneurial foundation, but what I do think is that we moved a lot when I was a kid. I was born in Indianapolis. My dad worked for Dow Chemical, which is akin to working for the military, because you move a lot, at least he did in his career. And so born in Indianapolis, lived there for about 3 years, then we moved to Milano, Italy, and I spoke Italian about as fluently as then, age 4 or 5, whenever that was, as I spoke English, which was cool.
That's awesome.
And then we moved to Miami, Florida. After that, all the Italian goes just evaporates because there's no support for it. I moved, I went to a Montessori school, but that was the only Italian spoken was the name of the school, right? And so there was no reinforcement for it, so it disappeared. But all these different, and then 3 years after that, some time in Miami getting sunburned. You can see I'm probably the type, right? And then we moved to Dallas, Texas. That's a whole other set of experiences and people and things to do, and a very distinct culture. I mean, Miami was a bit of a melting pot and full of conflict, and an odd place in the late 70s. And it was before Don Johnson and company had come to town and brought the T-shirt and suit looks, and drove the Ferraris and Lamborghinis around. So perhaps it wasn't quite the Miami people have in mind. Moved to Dallas. That was during the Dallas era of TV, Who Shot JR and all that good stuff. Gen X references will be coming, I'm sorry. But then finally back to the Midwest in Midland, Michigan, this town where the company's headquartered. All that moving around, I guess, meant there's constant change in my life.
Right, yeah.
And I had to make new relationships and start over with friends. Finally, we moved to Michigan. I was there from 6th grade to high school, so there was some consistency to it. But figuring out okay, I'm in a new place. I've almost literally been airdropped in here. How can I make the best of a challenging situation?
Yeah, so it's kind of like a chameleon in a way. The ability to become comfortable in a unique or new environment really quickly.
Yep. And you hear a lot in entrepreneurial circles or small company circles about change is everything, and we're either the big disruptors or we ourselves are going to have to eat our own young or be ready for things to change on a dime for us, but we're supposedly faster on our feet than the big guys, the established companies, and usually a smaller company with fewer people. That better be true.
Right.
But I think that growing up experience kind of led me to feel like I should never get too comfortable or expect too much of a routine to develop, because that is bad or that is different than what I'm used to. So therefore, that's something I don't, I don't think I want to make a part of my drill.